What's up everyone? Welcome back to CryptoLiveLeak. My name's Ken. And today, by the audience's vote, we have the pleasure to review Tezos, which has an upcoming launch in Q2 of 2018. Rejoice! For everyone that's been waiting, this is definitely words that they've wanted to hear for a long time. Tezos had one of the strongest communities we've seen. We ran our Twitter poll, and Tezos won the vote, which is why it's now the subject of our next video review. And just before we hop into the review, we have actual live footage of Tezos launching in Q2 2018. Let's take a look.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. The SpaceX Falcon 9 carrying Tess, a planet-hunting spacecraft that will search for new worlds beyond our solar system.
SpaceX ascent commentary. Once again, we'll make call-outs on the trajectory of the rocket. That happens about 2 minutes, 30 seconds into the flight.
Now, if that doesn't get you pumped for launch, I don't know what will. Okay guys, this is going to be a pretty in-depth review today. Just going to cover any topics that we haven't already covered in previous Tezos review videos. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. Alright, and starting with a little bit of history on Tezos. Tezos was one of the largest ICOs of its time back in 2017 when it ran, and its two co-founders are Arthur and Kathleen Brightman. Kathleen is the CEO of DLS, Dynamic Ledger Solutions, which is an incorporated business in the US. Arthur is the head architect for the development team based out of Paris, France. Now the two are a husband and wife team that have been pushing this product forward. But there's also another entity that was set up in order to help push this protocol forward in terms of adoption and use. And that's the Tezos Foundation. The Tezos Foundation is the one in control of all of the funds raised during the ICO. And it was this Tezos Foundation that had turmoil in the beginning. Ironically enough, it was an off-chain governance issue. The former president of the Tezos Foundation, Johan Gievers, was accused of being a dictator sitting on top of billions of dollars in fundraising money and not willing to spend a dime. So the community itself had an uprising. Ryan Jesperson was just your average concerned Tezos investor from mid-America. He took matters into his own hands. Along with a few other members of the community, he went over to Switzerland himself and started a rival foundation called the T2 Foundation. And this foundation was set up basically to just give Tezos, the development team, Arthur and Kathleen, a safe place to release the code and launch the token outside of the Gievers-controlled original Tezos Foundation. Well, that seemed to be a power move, and in fact, it worked. Gievers shortly after stepped down from his position at the Tezos Foundation, and Ryan Jesperson assumed his role. Since then, Ryan has done a great job of really pushing the project forward. Not only did he pick up his whole family and move to Switzerland himself, just to be closer to the operations, but he's also already formed major partnerships for Tezos. And Ryan has been great. Ever since Ryan Jesperson took over the foundation president role, things have been really rapidly moving forward. As Tim Draper was recently quoted saying, "It's nice to be back in business." Since being named the new president of the Tezos Foundation, here are some of the things Ryan has accomplished. He funded the Learn OCaml project with INRIA. Those are the developers that actually made OCaml, and this project just basically is to put funding into a program that teaches people how to code in the OCaml language. Now the reason why this is important to Tezos is because their own language, Michelson, was built on top of this OCaml language. So it's in their benefit to make sure that future generations, future engineers, future coders are knowledgeable in that base language. Secondarily, he has ordered 2 code reviews of the compilation of Tezos code, and this is important because in order to lead to launch in Q2 2018, the code needs to be reviewed. So the 2 bodies that Ryan and the Tezos Foundation have contracted to review the code are 1, INRIA. So again, these are the developers that made the OCaml language. And 2, the Least Authority, which is owned by Zilko Wilcox, the creator of Zcash. So that's another prominent firm. Once those 2 firms complete their independent reviews of the core language to Tezos and give it the okay, we should be able to move forward to the next step, which would be beta launch. Beta launch is going to be a full-scale production version of Tezos live launched. This means as a token holder or an investor in the ICO, you'll be able to actually get your real Tezos tokens and store them in your wallets using whatever private keys that you had obtained from the ICO process. And the reason for launching a beta net first before the actual mainnet, which is a more finalized product, is because they want to see a stress test on the network in a real world scenario where there's a lot of users, the transactions increase within the network outside of just the zero net testnet that's currently running. So this will run for a course of 3 months, and they'll get some results back. They'll be able to tweak the product a little bit more if it's needed, and then they'll go ahead and release the mainnet version of Tezos, and that will be in Q3 2018. But it's important to know all the transactions on the blockchain that occur in the beta net will carry over to the mainnet. So beta net is actually the first real live launch version of Tezos. Now the team hasn't commented on any specific dates, but Q2 gives us all the way through June of this year. So it's my bet that this will be probably in the end of June that they'll announce this launch. And at the time there'll be instructions given on how to exactly obtain your tokens that you are entitled to from the crowd sale that happened last year. So I'm sure we'll all be staying watch for that next announcement, probably made very shortly here in the next few months by Ryan and the Tezos Foundation. So outside of the original Tezos Foundation, outside of T2, there's also been another foundation created, and this is called the Tezos Commons Foundation. So if you remember our friend Jonas Lamas, he's actually on the board of the Tezos Commons Foundation. And their role is to basically foster and develop any supporting projects to the Tezos ecosystem. They're going to identify and fund and support these projects, anything that helps foster the ecosystem around Tezos. So very interesting. I'll throw the link to their website up, and if you are a contributor to the Tezos ecosystem, you might want to reach out to that Tezos Commons Foundation in order to seek funding. And also, we've seen an update to the Tezos.com website. Now this is the first facelift that the website has gotten since the ICO fundraiser. Pretty sleek design here. Some people have noted it's a bit laggy. I haven't noticed any issues myself. It looks great, and there's some great links on here for any developer documents and how to download the AlphaNet, and I'm sure once the BetaNet becomes available, all the instructions will be linked from this website here as well. Again, that's Tezos.com. And lastly, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the team. They're doing a really good job on getting boots on the ground, getting out there, meeting with the community, giving speeches at different blockchain conferences, and just letting the world know about Tezos and its progress. Recently, we had Kathleen appear on an interview on the MIT Review, and she compared Tezos to Amazon Workstation Credits. Basically, it's a token that allows you to interact with that network. And to me, this sort of came off as a use case for a utility token classification. So maybe she's 2 steps ahead here, knowing that governments have recently been questioning cryptocurrencies in regards to whether they are utility or securities. So let's take a listen to that clip now.
So we think about Tezos tokens as sort of akin to like Amazon AWS credits. So what they represent is a way to participate in the upgrade mechanism, voting on the network. They also represent a way to transact with other people, and they also represent a way to store data in the blockchain. So they have 3 distinct purposes. You can use them for whichever, or you can create a new way. Those are just the ways that we think about it.
Kathleen had some great speaking points on this interview here at the MIT Review. She even later went on to compare Bitcoin to Coca-Cola and Tezos to a Pepsi.
The question I'm asking is obviously is an adoption question, right? You're not going to get people to give up Bitcoin, probably.
Well, I mean, arguably they did in order to do the fundraiser, but yeah, that was a snarky answer, sorry. But anyway, no, I think like Bitcoin is kind of like Coca-Cola. It's really not going away.
Right.
I mean, arguably the Tezos white paper opines quite a bit about theoretical objections to Bitcoin, which Bitcoin has either confronted or completely circumvented in a lot of ways. And so it's extraordinarily resilient. I think people discount that quite a bit, and the mere fact that it works is just incredible, right?
Right.
But I think that ultimately, like smart contracts, which Bitcoin has struggled to adopt in the same fashion, are really what's going to drive this more towards practical commercial purposes. And I think that's what's exciting when I think about Tezos, not versus, but like in comparison to other projects.
Okay, so you're thinking more like Bitcoin is Coca-Cola, Tezos is Snapple.
I mean, I would settle for RC Cola, like, but but Pepsi would be nice, you know.
Okay, all right. I think Ethereum will fight with you for the Pepsi slot.
That'd be quite nice. To put it in perspective, if Tezos was trading at the same market cap as Bitcoin, you'd be looking at about $200 per Tezos, and that'd be about 150 billion market cap. What I'm also going to do is throw up a little graph that I published on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook earlier this week. A lot of you may have already seen that, but it helps visualize the potential market cap of Tezos based on an estimated per Tezos price. And seeing here, if we get to $1,000 per Tezos, we're looking at nearly $1 trillion in market cap. So this may seem far-fetched, but there were recent predictions that Bitcoin will reach 250,000 per Bitcoin. And if that's the case, the total cryptocurrency market's going to be in the multiple trillions, and I could easily see a coin like Tezos being valued at a near $1 trillion valuation based on the market cap. So that's a lot of food for thought right there. Digest this graph, make your own predictions, but as we all know, cryptocurrency doesn't just depend on one person's word. It's really a true supply and demand market, and that's what is so attractive about it. Hope this was all very informative for you guys today, and I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you for watching, guys, and thank you so much for voting. When we ran the poll, we gave you guys 4 options to choose from. That was Tezos, EOS, Dragon Chain, and Latium Coin. And Tezos was the overwhelming winner on that poll with nearly 80% of votes. 600 people voted. So congratulations to the Tezos community. Job well done. You guys are one of the strongest communities that I've seen in one of these cryptocurrency coins so far. And I can't wait for Q2 and see what happens to the overall cryptocurrency market in general. I think that Tezos launching could bring a great deal of wealth and rise to the market in general. A lot of new investors are probably going to want to hop on board and buy this coin once it does get released because they may have missed out on the ICO and heard all of the news about what's going on with Tezos. Again, the project is introducing formal verification, self-amending ledger, and on-chain governance. 3 huge breakthroughs that we haven't seen in any previous smart contracts platform. So thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. And don't forget to also follow us on any other social media channel we have, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching and take care.